jumped over the MACD indicator and the stochastic RSI indicator as well too. So those are indicators that I grew up with, I guess, if you want to say, from the beginning of my trading career, and
Indicator as
we
well
stand with
too.
it
So
now. We are going to be plugging in more and more with those indicators. You don't have to use them all. You don't want to use them all single. You don't want to use any of them just, as a holy grail, but they're just to assist your trading plan and assist your trading efforts. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and we're gonna do some practical application. And ideally, we place a trade tonight off the strength of being able to find a good setup. And I'm talking about we're gonna get in any single market because I want you guys to understand the value of not needing to necessarily wait on a market to do what you wanted to do or do what you need to see it do. Go find another trade, find the next best trade. That's our whole goal as retail traders is to find the next best trade. So I'm just going to go ahead and scalp the markets. Of course, I'm going to start with gold. If ever you do become diverse enough where you're across 10 different pairs and in a few different sectors of the market, bravo and kudos to you. You have reached a whole nother level of trading. And ideally, that's what you want to get to when you are looking to scale your portfolio. So we'll start off with gold. I'm already knowing that all of gold is kind of really flat right now. They're probably not going to start opening up until about 8 p.m. So we're going to go ahead and get into the first indicator. I want to teach you guys a little bit more on the MACD and how to use that as an entry point. So real time, this is what it's like for someone to be trading. Let's go to Bitcoin real quick. So I know Bitcoin is on a low right now. We got a discount on Bitcoin for sure, for sure. However, it is, bullish right now. So let's go to the 1 week time frame. We will go to the 1 week time frame, get the bigger picture, see what's going on in Bitcoin. Right. All right. So I don't know when I drew that trend line. But it looks like it stretched back quite a few weeks ago, and nonetheless, looks like it is still being respected, or I could have done that 2, 3 weeks ago, but definitely to be noted, it did break structure right here. Broke structure, and now it looks like we're starting to range, and technically, yes, we have been ranging all the way from, we got 90,000 all the way up to 108, which is the high currently. I think I did, yeah, I marked up the high. So I had to be here recently. I had to be in this market recently. I didn't place any Bitcoin trades this weekend. So I wasn't really following the price. I just knew that we were still in the 90,000s. Nonetheless, looking for an opportunity. I want to show you guys how to use this MACD indicator. Right now, currently, it's at the brink of what could be a downtrend. Obviously, everybody wants crypto to go to the moon, but what you don't want to do is get caught up in the hype and get caught up in the details and the candlesticks and what price action is doing and market structure. All right, we're not here for hype. All the Bitcoin enthusiasts out there, this might not be the class for you. I'm not the type to tell you crypto to the moon or nothing like that. I'm going to say look at the charts. All right, look at the charts. See what the charts are telling you and act accordingly once you understand how your trading plan is set up and get in where you fit in. All right. So looking at this MACD indicator right down here, we have what looks like is the very start of a cross over, right? Looks like it might be crossing down. Also, we have two identifiers right here. So that's 1 and 2 confirmation that you can be using. So you can use the volatility indicator, right? Down here, or you could be using the crossover. Either way, the MACD is basically crossing over and we'll see what happens. This is a doji candle right here. So that's a third indicator. On top of that, it has crossed over this trend line to say that the trend line is broken. So once again, that's 4 signs right there that it could be going downtown. Now, also the fact that it's over this yellow line. If you know anything about that EMA, right? That's the other indicator that we use, the exponential moving averages. They more than likely touch down on this indicator and then it rises back up. And we just so happen to have a little bit of room. So if I'm actually clocking Bitcoin right now and it's at 96,000, I'm going to say it's going to go to at least 90,000. That's 89.3 around there. I'm actually even going to set an alarm. And with Bitcoin, I'm not going to lie, I'm not so bullish with Bitcoin, just because of the way that it's set up and how often it fluctuates. I'm not as bullish. That's mainly with gold when I kind of take that perspective. Once again, I'm a discretionary price action trader. So that lets you know offhand that I'm going to look at what the market is currently doing. So if I had to say, I believe gold is going to go down to about 90,000. Looks like we had a previous low 5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago rather, around that 89, 90,000 area. So it looks like it might be going back there to retest. I guess we wouldn't know until like the end of this week, maybe Thursday, Friday. You probably have a better idea if the direction is going down there. But we all know that Bitcoin can go down there, take a real quick tap, and then head back up like it has been doing these past few weeks outside of this bullish momentum right here. All right. So this would be one of those things where I would want to look for a doji candle on the hour time frame. And if I'm going into a smaller time frame, obviously the MACD indicator is going to look different, and obviously the volatility meter is going to look different on the indicator. So now you have some decisions to make, because now you have the week time frame going against the 1 hour time frame, and that can cause a little bit of conviction. And how you want to decipher this conviction is basically still nonetheless taking in market structure, right? Because now we're just looking at market structure on a 1 hour time frame. So in the back of your mind, you want to keep the weekly, right? In the front of your mind, when you're about to enter a trade, if you're depending on how long you're planning to hold a trade, you want to be looking 2-3 hours to get out of a trade. You're going to be looking at the hour and the 15-minute time frame so you can get a quick scalp. Now, if you're looking to hold it long term, then you would obviously bring up the week chart, and then you guys see where it could have gone down to that 90,000 point. It's been holding pretty strong these past few weeks. So more likely it's going to go down 89,000 and tap back up. People are going to get scared and start buying more because they think they have the greatest price ever in crypto to the moon, right? Give me 1 second. I need to get a moderator to start letting people in and stuff. So yeah, I'm getting there. I had a moderator before and it worked out pretty good, so we will see. But I want to make sure everybody gets in on the class. I have Google Meet open as well, and I just want to make sure. Okay. All right, so that's open. All right, we're good. Okay, so in a nutshell, we are currently looking at the 1 hour time frame. We have the weekly time frame in the back of our minds. We're looking at this indicator right now to decide what's the next best action. Now, I did say it's going to go down, right? However, if you're looking at this, it looks like the volatility is lessening on the bullish end and starting to cross over into the uptrend. You would see this on the other side of it. You got me? All right. See this on the other side of it. And in a nutshell, all we're waiting is for a crossover. So this would be crossing up. But ideally, even if this next volatility meter reads a little bit of red or either more brighter red, it can still go down. So I'm not necessarily saying that we're still not down in price. We're at 95,000. So I'm still going to look at this and say, hey, I'm getting in for a sell. You got me? It's under the indicators already. So it might go up to like 98, 99, 100,000 and then come back down. But nonetheless, that it doesn't mean that the momentum isn't bearish. All right. So I'm still looking for that one signal, right? Obviously the question is, when do I enter the market? And it's going to be based off of, that signal. It's going to be based off of the confirmations that you have. If you have 3 to 5 confirmations, right, go ahead and enter the trade. Now, depending on how long you want to hold the trade, whenever I give you guys signals, that's the maximum of how much. When I give you take profit 3, right, TP3, that's the maximum that you could make in that trade. Even if it's really to give you an idea where the price is headed. It's not even to say that's where you have to cut it off at. Obviously, if we hit TP, great, that's a blessing. If we hit TP1 only, great, that's a blessing. But what you want to do is be able to manage your risk, where if you are taking losses, right? If you have 10 losses, if you have 10 trades that you placed, and let's say you lose 4. If you had that 4-to-1 ratio, you technically you would break even if you won every 4 trades, or if you lost every 4 trades, if you won 1, right? Because it's that 4-to-1 ratio. That means you could lose 4 trades, win 1 trade, and it makes up for that 1 trade. You got me? So imagine those other, right? You're at a 60% winning rate at this point, right? If you think about that, you're at a 60% winning rate. And in those other six trades, let's say you won those, now you're exponentially growing your portfolio with winning trades. And that's how you want to think about it. So when I say you see the signal, you have the three to five confirmations, you have the area of confluence, get in the market and go with that mentality. Any questions over that? Or do you need me to break down that math again a little bit? Or do you guys let me know? I'm here for you guys. I just really want you guys to get that and understand it's not about getting it right all the time. It's about when you are losing to control and manage your drawdown properly. If you see that automatic, oh, that was a bad decision. I shouldn't have done that. Like if you can't really tell right away, of course, but if you do see that and it's like, okay, obviously the drawdown came a lot quicker than you think, it's okay to wait to the markets go back halfway and then close out the trade at a minimal risk. You got me? Because you know it's going to come back at least a pull back just a little bit if you are wrong. You see what I'm saying? And when you get to the point where you can manage your trades, right? That's how you want to think about it, where you can manage your trades, win and losses. Now you're 4-to-1 ratio, that part, the drawdown where you're losing, if you even minus that by half, now your trading pattern, you're still at 60% winning rate. But at the same time, now your losses are even more minimal than they were going to be than they were planned for already. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope that makes sense to everybody. If it doesn't, please unmute yourself and let me know, because I know I was kind of talking kind of fast. And I know that sometimes I work my way around things. So I hope that was clear for you guys. Nonetheless, gonna go on to another indicator. So any questions about how to use the MACD at this point? We're looking for crossover. We're looking for the momentum in the area that we're looking to go in the direction that we're looking to place our trade. So if we're looking for buy, we're looking for green, right? If we're looking for sell, we're looking for red, right? On the MACD indicator. Then obviously we have the volatility right here, right? And you obviously or maybe not obviously, actually, this indicator is backed with a whole bunch of data and algorithms. So I'm not going to get into that. That's kind of more of advanced. And honestly, that's the stuff that I really, could care less about. As long as I know how to use the indicator, which is what you want to focus on, and the concept of how the indicator is being used, you can be profitable. You don't need to know who the designer was of the shoe. You just need to know that the shoe works, right? That you can walk in it. All right. And that's why I don't want you guys to overcomplicate. I want you just to get the concept and then move forward with that concept while you're trading. You got me? So don't overthink your indicators. Don't depend on them completely. And at the same time, just use it in confluence with the other indicators on board. I don't know if you guys remember me showing you this one, but there's literally an indicators built in. My screen is frozen. Can you guys hear me okay? I don't have way too many tabs open. Yep. So even before looking at this or just marking up charts, currently the technicals are saying sell. I have way too many tabs open. I knew I should have told. I was doing a lot. I was working. I forgot to close my tabs. I'm sorry if I'm a little choppy on you. 1 second. All right. Cool. So they have indicators on here as well. I don't go by all of these, but clearly, before I even looked at this, I was saying sell. All the indicators are saying sell, and it's because of the momentum and the action and the market structure. What is going on now? On the 1 day, it's saying sell. Now on the week, I'm sure it's saying buy. Right? Exactly. And you see how sometimes you can get conflicting directions from the indicators, and so that's why you never want to depend on one. And just whatever you do, here's the big thing about indicators: use the same indicators every single time. After you realize which indicators, no, you don't need them all, right? Obviously, they all do something different. Bollinger Bands are overbought, oversold, right? So if anything, I would have the Bollinger Bands. I would have the MACD indicator, or I would have the Bollinger Bands, and then I would have the EMAs and the stochastic RSI, and those three right there are enough. Fibonacci, it's not necessarily an indicator; it's more of a tool. So it's not necessarily. I don't want you to think about that as an indicator, but it can be used as it's a tool to be used as confirmation, right? And so with all that being said, You really just want to make sure that whatever you do the exact same way every single time. So if you enter the market on a doji candle, make sure you're always entering the market on a doji candle because that's your setup. And what it allows you to do is to be able to get that account history locked in because you know every single time you waited on that doji candle, you only entered on doji candles, right? And if you every time you wait on doji candles, you back tested and all that, right? Every time you've made a trade based on doji candles, now you have a winning percentage based off strictly nothing but doji candles, right? Now let's say you have another strategy. You put this in a whole another account that you trade with. And let's say you only trade off of double bottoms, right? This account, you only trade off of double bottoms. And what that allows you to do is to build up your strategy package over time. So when the market is showing you certain signs, now you have certain indicators that you use for certain moments, and your winning percentage are going to be that much more exact to the T because the last 10 trades you taken, you got a 70% winning rate because you use the exact same indicators, you got it on the exact same signals, and that's how I don't like to say robotic, but that's how computerized you want to be thinking when you're getting into these markets. All right. Any questions about that? All right. So we got the MACD indicator. I'm gonna take off both of these now, the EMA. Obviously, you guys know I'm riding strong with the EMA, just because I understand how it gets respected. Everything else that I really look into on how to enter a trade is basically off of market structure. You know, sooner or later things expand, sooner or later things contract, and then sooner or later things start to trend. All right, and you know these indicators will help you verify a trend. So a MACD indicator is something that will help you verify if a trend is heading in a certain way. But the thing is, I don't want you to think like, oh, just because it's starting to lighten up on the volatility meter, it's lightening up, and then oh God, it might be time to get in for a trade, but then boom, no, right back to the low, right? So you might have had to hold this trade a lot longer than you would have expected, and might have caused you to close your trade earlier than you should have. You got me? So that's what I'm saying. You don't want to depend on any single indicator. There's a reason I'm harping on that because that was one of the mistakes that I made when I was really getting. I was like, oh, it makes sense. It's the crossover. Why would it not? And it's not even about that. You got me? So I don't want you getting your feelings hurt because you use the indicator. Lionheart told you up front that do not use any one indicator solely. All right. Let's see. So let's go to that stochastic I was talking about. Let's get into a setup. Let's find another setup on a different market. So we got the stochastic indicator. We're gonna get rid of the MACD. We're gonna put back on the EMA, and then I said we're gonna use Bollinger Bands. All right. Bam. So let's go find another active market. So somebody unmute themselves and give me a stock. Let's do that. Let's do a little class participation here. Somebody got a stock that they're interested in looking into or something that they use that has an actual ticker symbol. It can be a product, whatever it is, whatever your favorite company is. Anybody?
Microsoft.
Microsoft. All right. I'm gonna go here. Good old Microsoft. All right. So Microsoft on the watch list. Let's see what they got going on. Pump this up. We're gonna go to the week time frame. We're gonna find the same thing. I just want you guys to understand, like you literally do any market, any market. All right, same exact difference, right? Stretch that thing out. All right, so we got the upper band, we got the lower band, and we got the middle band, right? Currently, it's heading towards this current current lower band, and I see that the EMA looks like it might have been respecting it at some point, and it's actually struggling to go completely down. But I see that EMA in the background. I don't know if you guys are peeping that right now, but it's looked like that EMA is acting as support. So I'm sure when the market opens, obviously the market's closed right now, but obviously when the market opens, this looks like if all is well on the week time frame, this is 3 weeks down. So I'm also seeing that on the MACD indicator, we got the crossover going down, but we haven't quite got a connection right here yet. And it's technically saying that it's oversold right now, but it hasn't had the crossover or even some lull time to really consolidate. So the market looks like it's currently going to consolidation. I'm not sure, and I don't think that's just because of the market is closed right now. This is obviously a whole week that it didn't do much, and a whole another week where it didn't do much, right? So if I'm looking at this market and also just what I know about Microsoft, it's probably a seasonal thing, right? They're probably waiting on Black Friday or something to get another boost like this. So that's where, sometimes the fundamental aspect, if anything, I would go to if I'm gonna go do some research on this market. Go to Bloomberg and obviously I'm gonna read up on what could possibly be going on, right? This is once again part of the confirmation. Obviously, I told you guys how I feel about trading off the news, but once again, this is confirmation that you can be reading up on and seeing what exactly is going on in the Microsoft world. I'm not going to get into any article, but I'm saying this is where you would one of the areas you can go. I'm not subscribed to Bloomberg. I know I do watch them on YouTube, but outside of that, I don't really pay attention to them. But that's one area where you can get some fundamental analysis. Obviously, we have the markets in itself, but if you're not using that, I'd be waiting on a crossover. So I'm going to say that this is probably going in for a sell, and they probably have one, two, maybe three bad weeks, or at least bearish week. I'm not going to say bad weeks, but bearish weeks ahead of them before they really get into it. If I broke it down to the hour, and I'm trying to scalp it, it's even more consolidated, meaning price hasn't been a lot going on with Microsoft. Microsoft, I don't know. So you know, so nonetheless, it does look like it's losing bullish momentum even in the past few hours, and it still kind of is consolidated and still bearish. And if you look at it also on the hour, it looks like it's more of a downtrend than an uptrend. So if I'm looking at this, we're already in between our Bollinger Bands, right? Oh God, how that happened. He's back up here. How did that happen? Interesting. Give me 1 second. Let me see. I just did something I didn't even know I could do. Give me a second. Let me. Cool. They put it back on. All right. So obviously we're in the middle of the Bollinger Band as well too. So top or bottom, obviously that can be a little bit confusing, but one of the things that you can also use is that middle Bollinger Band and say, hey, that middle Bollinger Band is acting as resistance. You got me? So because it's acting as resistance, I'm automatically gonna think I'm gonna get in for a sell. Once so that we have the middle Bollinger Band, we have the EMA, the yellow EMA, as you can see back there. We know it's in the middle of the market, right? So that's two right there. That's two signs right there that we should be getting in for a sell. We don't have the full crossover yet, but it's definitely still on the lower end. This market is reeking of a sell, and if you had to use, trade view indicators, let's see what they're talking about. And they're talking about on the technical side, it's talking about a sell, so that's 4. Analyst rating, obviously they're talking about analyst rating is not the technicals. You got me. Don't get confused. Analyst rating is basically the analyst saying, "Hey, is Microsoft a good company to invest in?" And they're saying, "Yes, it's a strong buy. You should be able to buy and hold." It's called a blue chip. They're around, so they're not going anywhere anytime soon. But that's 4 reasons right there. Not to really include the EMA. But that's 4 reasons right there why I would get in for a sell on this market right now. You got me? Just because of performance. Does that make sense? Using if I'm using the EMA, I'm using the Bollinger Bands, and I'm using the MACD indicator. I'm sorry, the stochastic. I'm so sorry, the stochastic indicator. Right? So sorry about that. Renege MACD from this conversation. I hope you guys saw me switch up the indicator right there. But just with those 3 indicators, that's enough. And then if I was to pull up the Fibonacci, which I don't necessarily feel like I need to do, but if I was, and I wanted to get some levels in here so I can get a take profit, right? If I can get a take profit, I'll just say, low to high, or last highest high, I guess. Bam. So if we're getting in for a sell, I could see 50%. We're headed down to 410, I guess. If we're looking for a quick scalp, this is only on the hour for a quick scalp. If I'm looking at the week, get this thing out of here. If I'm looking at the week, and I'm trying to hold it a little bit long term, this is definitely a company I would hold a little bit long term, right? Because that's what the analysis rating is technically saying. See, it's almost kind of like they have their own bias out there for you. But if I'm looking to get into this market and I'm looking for a sell, we got the 1.618, which is interesting enough. It looks like that's the 200 EMA. So they're basically saying price could go down to 386 over these next few weeks is kind of where it's looking at. Because between this average, if you guys see that I didn't draw this line. You got me, that line just happened to match up with the EMA. You got me? So nonetheless, that's all I would do if I was looking to get into the market for a sell. Obviously, you want to get in on some type of bearish candle similar like that, but this is clearly a good enough sign right here. Let me remove all these now. So way, this out the way, get the Bollinger Bands out the way. All right, and the fib out the way. All right, so obviously this you want to look for a sign like this. This sign right here is clearly showing that Microsoft is on a downtrend. This is a clear sign. So you want to see something like that, a reverse butterfly, some type of retracement signal. If you still don't know all your candlestick patterns, please go to the guide in the email that you got when you first signed up. And that guide will show you the different type of candlesticks. It's the master guide to basically how to read candlesticks, what they mean. And nonetheless, let's like I said, if you only got in on doji candles, this would be one of the trades that you would have gotten in on. You see the doji candles, you have the 3 to 5 confirmations, and that should be enough for you to enter the market. And it's not about crossing your fingers and hoping it goes up. It's about managing your risk properly. So if you see it start to, if you're in first sell and you see it start to explode out of nowhere because you go back and read some news, it's okay to wait till it retraces a little bit and cut out your trade. You know, I'd rather take a small loss than a huge loss. You got me? And if you can't take a loss because you don't have a stop loss set, sooner or later you will take the mother of all losses. You got me? So find your discipline levels, stick to them. You'll respect yourself more when you're in the market, and when you're trading, you're gonna build up a confidence that at least won't be tarnished by just sporadic moves in the market. You'll build your disciplines up that way. You got me? But nonetheless, that's it for the day, Queens and Kings. I hope it was a great class for you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. But I'm here right now, open mic. If you guys do have any questions right now that I can answer. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and head off. And you guys can go to lionswallstreet.com if you need anything from me. So far, services, and then also, what else? Email info@lionheartmotivationfactory.com. All right. You guys have a great evening. Take care.